Hi, I'm Amrita.
Hi, I'm Arpita, and welcome to
Yet another episode of Thirsty.
30s.
So, Arpita, now that you have turned 30, you've entered the 30s club very recently. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like I'm carrying a lot of lessons. I'm kind of not at all worried. I'm actually relieved if you ask me, and that's because I feel like I have a lot that I can now reflect on. There are the lessons, and there are the right relationships and the wrong relationships, and everything that teaches us, I guess.
So, what, according to you, is a wrong relationship? Why did you coin the term as wrong relationship? What is a wrong relationship according to you?
See, every relationship is a right relationship in the beginning, right? Otherwise, you won't do it in the first place. But I feel like a relationship becomes wrong, quote unquote, when it hinders your growth, when you can't grow individually and also together in that relationship. It becomes something that's obstructing you from going out there and doing everything you want to do. And we have faced quite a lot of them in the beginning.
Yes.
So I feel like that is something that once you reach 30s, you kind of understand that maybe the expiry date of all the wrong relationships have come, and now we have to be a bit more mature.
Vigilant.
Yes. Maybe it's not, there's no room for experimenting anymore. Maybe you should be more careful where you're putting your time and efforts in.
Yeah, that really makes sense. You actually need to know where to put your time and effort, actually. Um, yeah, I have a similar point. Wrong relationships is very subjective, definitely. And according to me, a relationship goes really wrong when there are a lot of conditions put in. Like, if you do this or if you don't do this, I like you better. What kind of a relationship is that, right? So, love or whatever kind of feelings that you have for another person, I feel should be unconditional. It shouldn't come with conditions, basically. So the moment conditions, come into the picture, that's when people start feeling very uncomfortable and they turn out to be the people that they are not actually, right? So basically, I think people should be just accepting each other the way they are,
Yeah.
and that will make your life more easier, probably. Yeah.
But having said that, I also think we won't be who we are today without the wrong relationships, Hannah.
Definitely, definitely.
So, wrong relationships taught us a lot while being wrong, and we found ourselves through those. As we grew more and more, and we were facing more and more situations where the person was telling us something that we should do and we don't want to do. We found ourselves, we found what we want to do more, and that made us a definitely a different person. We
Yes,
are
definitely.
stronger and everything else.
That's because we learn from it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
every bad thing teaches you something for the future. Maybe at that point of time you won't understand. Like for me, example, like when I went through a lot of shit, I never understood that it was for my good. Years later, when I analyze the situations, I'm like, thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank you for giving such very good experiences, because that has changed a lot in me, in my way of thinking, in my way of choosing a partner if I want, that is. And a lot of things have changed, right? A lot of maturity, and of course the 30s, the age definitely matters here. As you age, you have a lot of clear thoughts in what you want and what you don't want, and you learn to set your boundaries, learn to love yourself a little bit more. We've all heard about self love, but nobody taught us, right, on how to do that and all of. So all these kind of toxic relationships that we went through has, uh, given way to a lot more introspection, and a lot of polishing goes through, and then you are kind of aware of what you want now because
Okay,
of that
I
relationship.
have a follow up question if you don't mind me asking. That is,
Yes.
um, when you are in a wrong relationship, or when a right one is becoming wrong day by day as the days progress, sometimes you don't understand that, right? And I believe that a lot of our pop culture, a lot of our movies, a lot of our um, things that we consume, which basically teaches us about love, because we didn't have love as a subject in school for sure. Right? So the thing that we grew up watching did not really do much in telling us the difference between the right one and the wrong one. So have you ever found yourself in a situation where the other person is very confident in what they are demanding from you, and at that point you are realizing this is everything that you didn't want to?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Because see, I thought it's okay. We've all had that kind of stage where we thought it's okay to agree for conditions, and adjust. And definitely, a relationship needs a lot of adjustments. I do believe that, but not to a level where you have to change yourself completely as a person so that the other person can love you. That is complete bullshit, right? I mean, and we've all gone through it. I was not taught ki it's not right to, it's not wrong to basically accept all that. And but at one point I kind of understood that this is not something that is going to go for a long term, right? It doesn't make any sense if you change yourself and the other person is ready to love yourself, that is like love you, that is like a big no no for me. So yeah, and I think it involves a lot of conditioning as well, right?
Let's talk about that for a second, because I feel like in Indian movies, Indian Bollywood, I would say, because Bollywood has been a, Bollywood is something that is so
Giving false expectations
yes.
to a lot of us.
Yeah. Why is that the women in Bollywood heroines, they have to sacrifice, they have to face the heartbreak first, and then the hero realizes at the end that okay, she was right all along. But in real life, the hero never realizes. That's a different topic.
No, they do realize, but
But it's too late
we
by
must.
then.
Yeah, too late. It's always too late.
Yeah.
They do realize, but yeah, life doesn't work like that, right? We don't have to keep waiting for people and to, waste our time.
So, would you say wrong relationships taught you to stand up for yourself more than anything, or was it the other way around? You stood up for yourself anyway, that is why you realized it's the wrong relationships?
I did stand up for myself after a point, like I told you before, when it was getting too much, right? When I felt like this is not me. That is when I felt like, okay, that I should be getting out from that. So, yeah, I stood up after a point and I'm still standing up. And that experiences have really helped me to set my boundaries a lot. And I think major part of this comes when you don't self love play, like I told you earlier, plays a very important role. You have to be very happy with yourself, then only you can be happy with the other person. The other person is not responsible for bringing happiness to your life, and that is what we have been taught. We have been conditioned, like you need a partner to bring happiness to your life. No, you can do that for yourself first. You be ready for yourself first, and then find someone who can increase that kind of happiness and not diminish whatever you had, right? So I think I started noticing I was going low, my all my these bubbly kind of nature was going down really bad. I faced a lot of shit. So that is when I realized, okay, this is not something that I want in a relationship. So
I
yeah.
think when we are young and we are looking for a relationship, or we are not looking for a relationship, we just have a crush on someone and they kind of confess that they like us back. What we do look for is that sort of a validation, like, oh my god, I'm loved, because sometimes you don't feel that love from your parents, you don't feel that sort of a love from a lot of other stuff, right? And you feel like, okay, this person that I really like also likes me back, so that's a big deal for me and I want to do this, right? So you're
Basically
looking
we
for
just
that.
go and settle for
Yes,
very
yes, yeah.
less,
So yeah,
yeah.
we look for that external validation that that relationship will give us, and if that person wants us to change in some way, like, hey, why did you like that picture, or why did you wear that dress, or whatever, like in the beginning when somebody tells us, we are like, yeah, sure, we can adjust, we can listen, because if that makes you happy, that makes me happy. And then only in a certain point when you start validating yourself, when you understand I don't really have to change for the person in front of me, right? You know that hey, I am something on my own.
Yes.
Then you start questioning when the other person comes and be like, hey, I need you to do this and that. Then you're like, no, if I want to do it, sure. But then
there are a lot of things when you do out of love for
Yes.
somebody,
That's
which is
effort.
unconditional, which is effort, which is everything, and when you're forced to do things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of difference between these two stuff.
Yeah. So, like, for example, a guy told me that, if he is, that was a completely monogamous relationship. There was no like any other condition involved. But he told me that I should be okay with him cheating on me time to time because that's how we survived that relationship. And I was like, no, I'm not okay with that.
That's why we should be learning on how to set our boundaries. Not everything is okay, right? Even that is what even I believe you've also accepted a lot of stuff which was not right back then, but you didn't know probably that
Any
it
better.
was yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody came and told you, nobody came and taught you that this is wrong.
Exactly.
You just accepted, and you until a point where you just had to burst out, right?
Right. Women in India mostly are, at least when we were growing up, there was hardly any talk on self love. There was hardly any talk about you should stand up for yourself. We were obviously we were encouraged to study and we were encouraged to do all of that, but also people expected us to adjust. People expected us to find a partner by now. So yeah, I mean, it took us only us to figure it out that nobody is gonna stand up for myself if I can't do that myself. And only when we did that, we found that other way. Now I have a very important question. It cannot be that women are always the right and men are always wrong. I have also seen a lot of my classmates and everybody, who were the wrong one in the relationship. So in case you are the wrong one, because I'm pretty sure we are not perfect, we have a lot of our flaws, right? What do you think helps us?
I think a lot of self awareness should be very important. We have our own negative stuff, but the thing is, you have to realize that, you have to be aware of that and work on that, so that the other person, we can't just push that trauma to the other person. Like, we can always come and say that, okay, I had a bad relationship, so I'll show my past traumas to you. That is not fair at all. It is your problem, it's not the other person's problem. So a lot of self awareness is very important. You have to work on it, realize it, that there's something off, right? So you need to work on it. We all can be wrong. Even I was wrong sometimes. I completely agree. You must also be.
Absolutely.
None of us were like perfect.
Yeah.
But realizing that and working towards it makes a lot of difference for your future relationships.
So this is where I have a very big problem with the rebound culture, because I feel like every time a relationship becomes wrong or toxic, right, and you eventually do come out of it, instead of finding another rebound and just moving on and be like forgive and forget and all of that, you need to take that time to reflect, and actually see what happened. It cannot be one person's fault. Even if it is, there is some things that you also missed, right? Some hints and all of that probably hampered your life, damaged your mental health. So this rebound culture cannot go on in case we really want to.
That again is a very subjective thing.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of people who we know that are okay with rebound. That's
I
the
have
way
done
they
rebounds.
I've not done. Thinking of, but I'm single, so it's okay. Away from all the drama. Anyway, so rebounds, yeah, again, I said it's a very subjective thing. So for some people, it might work out. For some people, it would. Like, for example, if you take the case of me, I can't even think of it. I take time, whether it's 1 year or 2 year, and I don't know how many months and years and years probably. I take that time to go through things. If I'm that grieving period is very important. That grieving thing should be there, right? So I take a lot of time to sit with me, cry out loud, go through the bad situation, so that I'm completely ready whenever I feel that, okay, I'm ready for a next relationship, that's when I kind of go forward with it. Rebounds never works. I don't think it can ever work out for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what, like, in a culture which kind of always encourages you to, like, forget about that, go on, there's a lot of fishes in the sea and stuff like that, they say.
Huh.
That itself kind of actually stops you from seeking what you want to seek. Imagine if you
Exactly.
would have just stopped one relationship and went to the other one, you would have never found yourself back then sitting and understanding where your priorities lie. Right? Like, for example, when you came into modeling, it's not like your parent told you go do modeling and you did it. You did it completely on your own.
Yeah.
And even the starting of that might not have been easy.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not sure, but there's a lot of times when somebody chooses a creative field and the partner says, are you sure you want to do this? Isn't that a lot for you?
I've heard that a lot. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what your career, somebody not accepting your career is a big, big, big red flag that I didn't realize uh, when I was quite young. But now I do realize that. So yeah, anybody stopping you from achieving your goals is a big no-no. That person doesn't love you. Just know that that person is just there for a while. That's it. Khatam. End it right there. So yeah, that stopping. I think that is a stand where you have to realize. That's a point where you have to realize that this is toxic. So
yeah, unfortunately, I don't think wrong relationships teaches us only the good stuff or the bad stuff. Sometimes they will teach you this really good recipe that you will remember forever. Sometimes they will give you a gift that you will probably cherish. So people are not inherently right or wrong. We are not saying that just because you had a relationship that went wrong with someone, they are inherently good or bad. They are not. Everybody is complex, everybody is human. But yeah, and you shouldn't really just settle for the stuff that is stopping you, and not letting you be, or letting you where you want to be. Like, for example, if you want to go travel the world and your partner can't help you right then and there, you should not. I mean, if you really want to do that, you should do it. And if the partner doesn't understand, then
no, not even help is required.
yeah, not even help. Like,
Who is your partner to give you permission to do your
it's
work?
just the unconditional support, right?
Yeah.
Like, that has to be there. And if that is not there, we can just be single for as long as it takes.
And trust me, single life is. I've been single since a very long time now. It's the best. It is the best to that extent. Ki I don't know. I'm not able to get into that dating culture anymore. It's too tiring. And
don't you feel women especially should be single for a couple of years in their 20s?
yes, definitely. Yeah, I totally agree because I've seen my thing, when I've done a lot of stuff as in a lot of good things happen in my life, a lot of hobbies that I had, I discovered it when, I was single because I have a lot of time. So I would rather spend that on me and realizing that, okay, this is something that I want to do. So yeah, you need to be single at least for a year or two continuously to understand what you actually want. And the relationships after that, if if you reflect, there'll be a lot of change, lot of changes. You just stay single for 1 or 2 years and then you become then you commit to a relationship. I think that makes a lot of
You learn
difference.
the true meaning of boundaries,
True meaning of boundaries, uh,
space.
space, personal space,
Yes.
respect
Yeah.
out of everything.
Yeah.
You learn all that, you try to incorporate all that, and yeah.
As somebody who has seen Amrita for a long time, I can promise you this much, that is, she has gone through the biggest changes after every of her wrong relationships.
Good.
No. I'm not.
Good changes.
This is not about the details. This is truly like, I saw her blooming. I saw her prosper. I saw her like breaking all her previous, like notions and just going out there and doing XYZ just after all the wrong relationships. Like, she was like, you know what? What
Thank
was
you.
I thinking all this time? Well, yeah, I'm like, yeah, what were you thinking? It's not like I haven't done those. I mean, I have.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like, you are like a very good example of what
I agree.
we should like literally add a note here. Thank you to all of our wrong exes for doing what you did for us, because you are the reason we are here today.
Yes.
Rambling.
By the way, they are all in touch with me. Still, I don't know.
Hey guys,
Hi.
shout out.
No, I was just kidding. We're cutting this part, okay?
You are not cutting this
No,
part.
no way. See, when you, okay, I have a question for you. Okay, now that we are talking about wrong relationships and all of that, toxic relationships, after coming out of a wrong relationship, how will you react if somebody realizes their mistakes or whatever it is and apologize?
See, that is actually the where the whole world is revolving around anyway. Everybody's ex comes back. But yeah, it's very important. I think that's a good closure for yourself, because if you have been wronged, right? If the other person did hurt you in multiple ways, and when they finally come and apologize, you should accept it, because that means that you did stand up for yourself, which is now successful, which now proves that he understood that. That doesn't really take away your anything. You were always right from the beginning, please girl. But that is definitely a good acknowledgement, and acknowledgements are always welcome. It's refreshing to see people just realizing their own mistakes, which is, even I have done that. When I have done something wrong, I've gone back and apologized. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to accept them, because that becomes subjective. We have to accept them back first of all, because you can't really forget all the things that they have done to you, at least without the proper counseling and a lot of other stuff.
That comes to this term, you can forgive but not forget.
Yes. You should definitely forgive, but forgetting, that's very subjective. Sometimes people, like couples they go to couples counseling, they figure out, because they realize what's more important, right? In a world where we will probably have only couple of people that we are very close with and who actually understands for who we are. So when maybe one of them do something wrong and we do fall apart, and if they come back and realize their mistake, we can definitely see where that leads to. But that doesn't necessarily mean, if just because somebody is coming and apologizing, we will be like, yeah, sure, come back. कलेश चाहिए.
2 साल के लिए ड्रामा नहीं था मुझे. आई एम रेडी फॉर द
यार कैरेक्टर आर्क बिल्ड करना है, नेक्स्ट चैप्टर हम रेडी. या तो कलेश के लिए तो बहुत टाइम हो गया है, तो अभी नहीं करते फिर फिलहाल. हाँ. Okay, now this is for the 15-year-old girl that I was and you were once upon a time, not too long back.
Yes, so 15 years back.
Yeah. As you said, it took you a long time to stand up for yourself, understand that you need to have self-love, right? Love yourself, and those are the time when you realized this external validation के लिए मुझे नहीं भागना है किसी के पीछे. अगर वो toxic है तो like है, and I'm just gonna leave. So, but ideally speaking, in an ideal world, we should just grow up with that sort of a self-love. We should just know from the beginning that we are worth something, and we don't have to chase people for that, or we don't have to change ourselves for that. So what happened that it took us such a long time, it took us to our 20s or mid-20s to understand that we should love ourselves unconditionally, at least us ourselves.
That's the thing about Indian parents.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't know. I have to go home after this.
No, but that's true. Like,
yeah. So exactly. I thought it's just my family or our family, but I think a lot of us here, none of our parents have taught us the word self-love. What is self-love? Especially as a girl, in a very born in a very middle class family from Kerala, I was raised in a way that you need someone, and that has to be a guy. You need a partner in life to give you love, right? You can't fall in love with yourself. None of us thought. I mean, none of us were taught about it, right? We learned it as years passed by. We explored. Basically, yes, I learned to live my life the moment I decided to move out from my home, and move out as in I wanted to be this independent women working in some other state, and I want to live all by myself, earn and live by myself. And that was the best decision I think I ever took. And that is when I started learning a lot of things that our parents didn't teach us as kids. By the way, they still say that, if you're 30 and unmarried and you've still not found a partner, that is another, that's how they think. They still think that, I'm not successful in my life just because I do not have a husband. But I don't know, if I had a husband by this time, I don't know if I would be here talking to you guys.
Definitely
I
not.
honestly don't know. I wouldn't have done this if I was married by this time, right? So yeah, that's what, like, this thought is being injected from childhood ki you're a girl, you can't live by yourself, you need a partner, you need a man to be supportive and show love towards you. Only a man can give that love to you.
I just have one thing to add to that. That is, um, at least our parents did teach us to some extent that you need to have financial independence, somewhat.
Yeah.
But the thing that sort of love, because parents are our beginning of love, right? Like we learn everything that we need to learn about love from our parents very subconsciously, when we are growing up, right? That is the only thing that we have. And then obviously the pop culture comes in place and everything else. But the one thing that they do not teach us is about emotional independence, um, which is again a very broad topic. It doesn't mean that you can't be emotionally involved with anybody, absolutely not. But it's just like you don't need to be emotionally dependent on someone just because you want to live this life. You don't have to have that sort of under any circumstances I need to have that emotional bond with someone and I need to be dependent and all of that. That is where I don't think we were taught that at all.
Never.
Not from the movies, not from the any pop culture thing, or not from our parents.
Yeah, and they made sure that that opposite person has to be a guy, you have to be in a romantic relationship with that guy.
Yeah,
Why can't that the other person be a friend?
yeah.
Just a normal friend, just like how we are.
Yeah.
Like you can share your miserable days with your friend, if you've done something great in your life, and if you had a really good day, you can share that as well. Why do you actually need uh, a man to take care of your happiness?
Wrong relationships teach us the true meanings of friendship than anything else does. You know who your OGs are when you go through a breakup. Oh, I did a high five, you did.
Yeah.
No, that wrong relationships teach us more about our OG friends and all of that than anything else will.
They are always there for you. People will come and go. Your friends, family, for some people,
Absolutely.
will always be there for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, though the other people are just temporary. If you're lucky enough, you'll find a permanent one. Otherwise, just move on. Life is too short to sit and crib about not getting a man to share your happiness with.
Do you have a message for the 15-year-old you, or maybe 20-year-old you, who were going through her first heartbreak after realizing that she has spent a couple of years doing something, in a wrong relationship? Do you have like a message for her, or do you ever think if you could ever meet her, what would you say to her?
Go through the heartbreak, number one. Face the grief, cry, do whatever you want. Just go through it. But 10 years later, when you reflect back and see your situation, you'll be the happiest one. Like, how I am right now. So yes, it's just you actually need to go through heartbreaks and a lot of bad situations to understand what is right. Otherwise, I don't think that, again, comes to our topic, right? Otherwise, I don't think you can ever uh, experience or know what is exactly right for you, because a lot of perspective
Yeah.
changes when you're 20 and when you're 30, right?
Yeah.
And maybe in our 40s also, our thinking might be a little more different.
Oh my god, no more. Please, thank you.
So yeah,
Yeah, so the wrong relationships are as important as the right ones, and it probably teaches us more than the right ones, because the right ones just accept you for who you are, or sometimes you're like, you later understand you could have been a different person altogether. But yeah, it is something that you can't really avoid, and you shouldn't avoid. But maybe after a couple of those, take a break, girls, like please,
And everything happens for a reason. I totally believe in that right now, because in everything, anything that happened to you, anything wrong that happens to you, anything good that happens to you happens for a reason. And it'll be always good. Trust me. Trust me on this when I say it'll always, always, and always be good. So just hang in there.
she's just too hopeful, because if she starts believing every bad thing that has happened to her happened for no reason, we will have a mental breakdown that nobody wants.
That ship has sailed.
So that's why, yeah, we have to believe that every bad thing has happened for a reason. But yeah, so we just go through this, and yeah, if you're a woman, you would probably have, if you're a woman, you definitely would have more wrong relationships than probably a man. I don't know, I'm not quoting a statistics, I'm just saying from my friends group, just looking at them.
Just
Not you, I mean, of course you also.
okay.
But yeah, you definitely need to go through those.
Yeah, even men. I've seen my
Absolutely. Oh my
friends go
God.
through a real bad breakups.
Yeah.
And they've broken down, and they've gone through a lot in their life. Yeah, it's fair enough. You have to go, like, I say this to my brother. It's a very personal thing. I don't know if he sees this. So I kind of told my brother to get into some relationships. You need to understand what is actually, you need to go through real bad situations to know what is right. I always tell this to him. I always tell this to people I know, like, actually. So breakup is the biggest blessing that you can have, because a lot of things change, and you realize a lot of things after that.
So either do it for the kalesh or do it for the glow up. Either way, just do it.
Yes. So now that we've talked about, that we didn't know how to realize whether you're in a wrong relationship, so where exactly did you learn what is a right relationship? Probably. Do you have any reference or anything anywhere from where you're learning things from?
Yeah, so see, this is gonna almost sound like an homework, but to be honest, I always wondered, when I did grow up, when I did become a college student or whatever, that why aren't we taught about love, right? And it sounds very preachy, but at the end of the day, if you only have to learn from like five Bollywood movies and some songs and what your parents are saying, then that is obviously not enough. So I feel like only when I started exploring the topic of love, right, understanding different sort of love, your friends teach us so much about love. Um, your mother, as you grow up, teaches you a lot about love, and also the good books, the good movies. So I think my first introduction to what should a good love look like, if I can call it that, like a right relationship should look like, came from this book called Bell Hooks All About Love. And trust me, every page I was like, yes, oh my god, yes, thank you. And from then onwards, it has become a part of my mission to tell everybody about Bell Hooks All About Love. Oh, you're going through a breakup? I know what you should do. But yeah, we should promote probably more books written by women, narrated by women about love, because if you actually see at the history, you would see women always talked about how sad they were, and men always talked about how love is, right? Nobody asked women, like, what do you think love is? It was always these men perspective, especially for the literature part, right? For the most of it, even in songs and all, most songs that our parents jammed to was all about men's perspective and all of that. So as we find out more about women talking about love, we kind of relate that, we can relate to that a lot more than men saying, oh, she has this nice skin and nice texture, oh my god, I love her eyes and I love her nose. Love is not about that, as you guys, as we all know now. So yeah.
Character remains, lust expires.
Valuable lessons coming from the person who's right now single, but yeah, that's not the point. Yeah. So given a chance, तू कलेश करेगी कि
किसके साथ?
और दूध
कलेश करने के लिए भी तो कोई होना चाहिए. What do you mean? मैं खुद से कलेश तो नहीं कर सकती.
हाँ, वो तो चलते रहता है.
वो तो every day.
So how do you look for the right people now? Like, how do you set those boundaries? What do you do in the beginning? Is there like
First of all,
filtering out process?
I would say there is no right people, wrong people.
Right people,
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Basically, anybody who accepts me the way I am, and I should be also able to do that, right? If I put in conditions there, then that is where I realize that no, this is not gonna work out.
Yeah.
And a person who's self-aware, happy by himself in his own life, because I'm happy, I'm independent, single, and very much happy. I want the other person also to be happy, and then we meet, and then the happiness grows, and then you teach each other a lot of stuff, and help each other grow.
Yeah.
That is what is a right relationship for me right now. Nothing else.
So we will come back in 5 hours and sorry. So we will come back in 5 years and talk about this again, because I'm pretty sure we will have like a ton of new insights to share. Trust me, this is going to be like every 5 years we are back to share. Hey, this is what we learned in the last 5 years. Forget about the rest. Erase that.
Next milestone is 35.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a lot more things to say then.
Yeah.
No, but this is it for now,
Yeah. By 35, I'm pretty sure I will even like lose the hope that I have now. I'll just
Do
accept.
not lose hope. Hope is everything we live for. What are you doing now?
You live for hope. I'm just living for. I don't know. Yeah, I'm living to publish my book. That's it.
Yeah. We have our own goals. So relationship, yes, definitely, it should be a part of your life. It shouldn't be everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you find somebody good, well, good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's fine. Live your life, achieve your dreams, travel, do your things, and be happy.
We will show you the only person that you should do everything for. 1 second.
Yay!
This is the only person that you should do everything for.
Do you want to say something? Do you want to say hi? Hi, Varnya. Hi, Vari. Hi, Vara. Hi. Rain is a multilingual dog. He understands English, Hindi, Malayalam, and Tamil and Telugu sometimes. So we'll be back hopefully with another interesting topic. Hopefully next week.
Yes.
Until